Mike here from PlayWhatYouWant.com, bringing you the fifth and final part of my 5-part series, An Introduction to Playing Chord Changes on Your Piano. Now, this section is meant to sum up everything that we've already learned and teach you 5 new embellishments that you can use in the chords that I've already talked about in this series. So what I've done is I've prepared right here a PDF that has a number of common chord progressions that I've seen in popular songs in my experience. And these are all very common progressions that you might even recognize from certain tunes. And what I did is I put it on a PDF that you can download off my site for free that you can practice along with. Now, everything is in Roman numerals, which means that you can play this in any key. You can apply this to any of the 12 different key centers and make your own music using these chord progressions. So let me show you what I'm talking about with the 5 different ways that you can embellish this. Looking at the first example, we have a 1, a 4, a 5, and a 1. And again, we know that we're in C major, our 1 is going to be C, 4 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, F, and 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is G. So currently, we would play that first example like this. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 1 chord. So the first thing I want to show you is how to embellish this by doing more with your left hand. If you play your octaves as you already are, my guess is that if your fingers are relaxed, your second finger is hovering right over, probably right directly on top of G. Now G is the 5th of our triad, correct? C, E, G, 1, 3, 5. Well, the G, the 5, sounds really good in between octave Cs in your left hand because it's far enough from either one. If you throw in the E, the other note of the chord, it starts sounding really muddy because it's too low for a chord. But C, G, C sounds really nice, really open, and it gives you a lot more sound when you're playing your chords. So now let's apply that to that same 1, 4, 5, 1 pattern. Sounds a little bit nicer. Let's move on. And just so you know, I'm going to move through everything really quickly, so make sure you leave this YouTube site up for future reference, because I don't expect you to grasp all of this in one viewing. There's going to be a lot of information. Take each different embellishment, give it each its own due time, and make sure you're familiar with all of those before you move on to the next embellishment. So now the next one is going to be using arpeggios, which we already know is taking this block chord and breaking it up and going up and down. And it doesn't matter which inversion you're in, those are all arpeggios. So we're going to take the second example, which is 1, 6, 4, 5. Now if you look at the 6, we have a little V and I. The lowercase means minor. So the 6, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A is now going to be an A minor chord instead of A major. So let me show you how to play this using arpeggios. And remember that you can use arpeggios not just here in whatever position you start in, but you can move your position wherever you want. As long as it uses those 3 notes, you're still playing a C major chord. Let me show you how. 1, 6, 4, 5. Sounds a little bit nicer. Now there's even more notes going on and we're adding more interest. Now for number 3, what we're going to start doing is octave voicings. We're already playing our triad this way, but look at your pinky. You can put that down an octave above what your lowest note is. In this case, C, you can use it in any of the inversions. It always works. And it gives you one more note, not only just to play to make your sound more full, but it gives you one more note so that when you're doing arpeggios, it's not just 3. Now you have 4 notes to go up and down. So I'm going to use this on this third example, 1, 5, 6, 4. sounds really nice. Now the next thing, 4, is going to be passing tones. So we're going to use passing tones on this fourth example here, 1, 2, 4, 5. What I mean by passing tones is, let's say we're playing this inversion of C, second inversion. A passing tone I always like to use in major triads, and this isn't the only one you can use, but this is probably the easiest one to make sound good, is the D, or the second of whatever chord we're in. So if we're playing C, the second is going to be 1, 2, D. If we're in F, the second 1, 2 is G. So now look how I can play passing tones using arpeggios, but going over those passing tones. It's still all the notes in that chord, just one extra. This is 1, 2, 4, 5. Again, it sounds even better. It's one more embellishment that you can use. And now finally, you can use other chords to embellish the chords you're already on. The chord I always like to do, and the one that I'm going to show you right now, is going from the 1 chord to the 4 chord and back to the 1, all over that same root. I like to call this running in place, because even though you're still playing that same chord, this C chord, even though that's the chord that we're aiming for, we can still kind of use this other chord as a passing chord to just kind of go a little bit away from C and come back. We're running in place. It makes it sound a little bit nicer, gives it a lot more interest, and a lot more for the listener to listen for. So let me show you how this works with this final example. By the way, the second chord is a 7, but a flat 7 chord. So the 7 in major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, would be B, flat that to B flat, and play a major triad off of that. So here's 1, 7, 4, 1, using this running in place method on all 3 of those chords. Now this is one of the examples where you might want to go back and watch that again and really watch my fingers to see with that B flat how I went up to E flat and back to B flat. Simply because it's the B flat we're treating as the 1, go up to the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is E flat, and go back. It's a great sound, and it works especially well in my real world example that I have here, which is Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Let me show you how. I can't light, there it is, and no more of your darkness. I'm just doing F over C, kind of like the running in place still. All my pictures, same thing, seem to fade to black and white. G, C over G, back to G. And I'm growing tired. That's a G7, and time stands still for me. Frozen here, arpeggios on the ladder of my life, and so on. I'm using everything that I just talked about and boiling it all down into Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. So now that's the end of this lesson. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson series, and if you did, please go to my website, check out what I'm doing. I'm offering one-on-one private music lessons live over the internet. These pre-recorded lessons are okay, but they're very much aimed for a large audience to educate in a very general way. You can't ask questions, there's no interaction, and no one really cares about your development. Now, if you're interested in private lessons, go to my site, send me an email. I'll give you your first private lesson 100% free with no obligation, because I believe there's no reason that you shouldn't be playing what you want today. Thanks for watching.